My Amigo Like YouTube channel, where we open all kinds of shit that we get at the store, stuff in the mail, stuff we find, stuff we buy, marketplace, whatever. All kinds of wonderful toys in the Toy Room of Solitude. If you haven't been to the Toy Room of Solitude, or, well, actually nobody's been here except my daughter and I, and if you haven't seen the entire Toy Room of Solitude, there's plenty of videos you can go back in the past and you can see tours of it. We also have the Hall of Heroes, or also known as the Closet of Chaos. It's just a tiny room with stuff. But today I've got some really cool stuff to show you. I have, well, let's get started with, went to see the Fantastic Four movie this Sunday. Loved it. Wish I went the night it opened. I just didn't have time, or Saturday. And my theaters are all AMC. There's a Regal Cinema, but it's pretty far. Can't find any Cinemark in the area, and a lot of these places are doing popcorn buckets and promo drink cups and all kinds of stuff. That seems to be the new way for them to make money, because theater tickets don't seem to cut it. All the concessions are pretty, they make a lot on that, which is where the real money's made. But these things are out of control. So got my buddy Dinosaur Dan Samillo to do me a huge favor. He went and picked up the Fantastic Four popcorn bucket from Cinemark, from the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie and you're wondering whether it's going to be any good, my advice is go see it. I think you'll love it. It is the best Fantastic Four movie I've ever seen. I had my doubts. I'm not a super comic book nerd, but the Fantastic Four was one of those comics that was around a lot when I was a kid, living overseas. In Italy, the Fantastic Four was huge in Italy, between the cartoons, the comic books, and so on. And I just didn't think I'd be able to get over the fact that Pedro Pascal sporting that mustache would work for Reed Richards, but worked fine. I can't think, was it Vanessa Gudgeon? Is that the name? The girl that played the woman who played the Invisible Girl. She was awesome, awesome, just awesome. It was a really good movie. Got to stay till the end. Plenty of extra clips in there for you to see. But Dan was able to get up the popcorn bucket, so I want to open that up. I forgot it was actually coming, and it's funny. He said, "You know, that thing should have been there on Monday instead of today, being Thursday." I said, well, that's the kind of shit that's been going on. Everything's been really late. It's been extremely hot, like heat wave type shit. And I'm thinking that might have something to do with it, because if you've never seen the mail trucks or the, shaking the table off the chair, right? So if you've never seen the mail trucks where the guys work to load up the trucks, the 18-wheelers and so on, the depots, they're not air conditioned outside. They are, if you're lucky, you get a fan. And this 120-degree heat, yeah, like, it's brutal. Those trucks inside can get over 130 degrees. So you could, some serious passing out issues. All right, let's get this thing open. Try not to shake the table, I apologize. This is a fold-up table. One day we'll put a more permanent table, but I'm excited to get this open. I'm hoping the post office didn't damage it. Oh, it looks good. Actually quite big. I have a lot of the popcorn buckets from Deadpool, Transformers, Fast and the Furious. I did not get the Galactus bucket, which was the big one. Incidentally, I think it was $80 for it. It's huge. And they're ripping people off with scalpers all over eBay for them, or online. Maybe Etsy too, I don't know. But wow, this looks phenomenal. And I gotta send a huge thank you to Dan, because this is not a small item to ship, but wow, that is fantastic. So here it is in the bag. This was a Cinemark only, from what I understand. I don't know if you could buy this online. I know a lot of these popcorn container. I know a lot of these. Let's see what's on it. Yeah, a lot of these things are selling. They're actually pre-sales, like they're selling toys. These are becoming pretty collectible by a lot of people. Not just the Fantastic Four, but the popcorn buckets in general. And wow, look at that. Isn't that nice? If you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie. Obviously, this is the car from the movie. It's friggin' phenomenal. Can it fly? Of course it can fly. The question is, how do we open it? Oh, here we go. Okay, give me a sec. Let's see what we got. So we've got, looks like we've got a clip. Okay, that lifts the top. How about that? There you go. All right. Okay. I don't want to fingerprint it all up, but the idea is you'd put your popcorn inside there, and you can keep it at your seat. I will not be putting any popcorn in there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to clean up any fingerprints I just put on it. that's a nice popcorn bucket. Do the wheels spin? The wheels do not spin. They don't spin. I have the Fast and the Furious car, if you will. It's a nice mirrored finish on the whole thing. The Fast and Furious car, and the wheels actually spin. I actually have a couple of them over there. It's another big one. One of my favorites. I've seen some really cool stuff. I got the Deadpool bucket from AMC, which is pretty cool. It's basically a popcorn bucket. It looks like Deadpool's skin's on it, and it's kind of wrapping around it. But the one at Cinemark was literally the bust up of Venom. Did I say Deadpool? Venom. Sorry, I say Venom. With his mouth open, it was really cool. But I did get the Jaws one, which is right here. I showed this before. I'll show it again. They were selling this, even without the movie being there. They were selling the Jaws bucket. This is a great. I don't give a shit about being for popcorn. This is just a great piece. This was $42. It was a little expensive. The car, by the way, I think was around $50 with everything. But that's a great bucket. It can stay like this. It can stay closed. I mean, it's phenomenal. So I can't wait to get this car upstairs to the Hall of Heroes. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I think what we're going to have to do is start hanging things from the ceiling. Like, no joke. Stuff is really, really taking a lot of room. I'll just move this to the side for a moment. Thank you, Dinosaur Dan Samillo. You are awesome. Totally appreciate it. Yeah, Dan's a really good guy. I've known Dinosaur Dan since 97, maybe? I think it's 1997. Back in the old school days when eBay was new and people were still buying off the big red toy box. And the Amiga Museum was actually a fun place to go. So, I got another box in, and this is, apparently this is something, I guess I had it already. So, LJN Mr. Action was a complete knockoff series of G.I. Joe, right? It was the one that, I keep saying, David Eon kind of put that your grandmother would go and buy for you, thinking it was G.I. Joe and she was getting a discount or something. Anyway, they made several sets, some of them you can catalog and so on. And once I saw these, I was like, wow, these are really cool. I started getting very, very, very excited about finding them. And I started searching and searching and searching. And I didn't think I was ever going to really find one. And then one started to pop up, and then two, and then three. So not to come in here like, wow, look what I have, and you don't, because that's not the purpose of collecting. The purpose of collecting is to share and to, well, this is actually a different box, I think. The purpose of collecting is to share with your fellow collectors, not to sit there and try and be the toy king, as some dickheads out there do. We know who they are, so we don't have to mention their names, and they even know who they are, believe me. So this is actually a different, well, this is a different box. Okay, so this box is a little beat to shit. To be honest, I hope there's no kids watching. I'll bring it out. Let's see how much this was. This was, at the time, there's a price sticker on it from Playmart for $6.99. Now, this box is beat to shit, but it's a different box. We're going to have to do a little bit of repair work. So, as you can see, you've kind of got this mobile training base, and this is a ripoff of the G.I. Joe training tower, which I will turn around and show for you right now. And there it is. This is actually a complete ripoff. I actually have the box for that. It's way bigger. These are nice sets. I love the box. I love the artwork, and the box is beat to shit. I can't even tell you how many of these you'll ever encounter in your life. I never thought I'd find one, and I just did a little count over there. This is not quite complete, but it's got some very key components in it, which are good. It's missing a couple pieces, nothing big. Actually, I don't even know what it's missing. Give me a sec, we're gonna put this together. Oh, I can see a couple things, but I have some extra parts for it. Let's see if we can get it together. I built one of these last week, I think I built one, because I bought one in. So this actually, believe it or not, I thought this was like maybe number 4, number 5. I love these things. This is actually number 9. A little bit of breakage in it. They're a little fragile, they're a little flimsy, they're a little shitty. This one came from New Hampshire, believe it or not. This came all the way from New Hampshire. But it's kind of funny, I was buying, you know, my first experience with these is I was buying stuffed G.I. Joe parts in lots. And I found a couple pieces, I'm like, I don't know what the hell these are for, and I thought I would get rid of them. Let's turn this around so you guys can see it. I thought I'd start to get rid of them, and I don't know, they just wound up in a box, and then all of a sudden, one day while scouring for some of the toy stuff and looking up things, I said, wait a minute, that part looks just like something from the Mr. Action series. Now, I never had a Mr. Action tower. I never had a Mr. Action vehicle. I've had a couple of Mr. Actions. I got a bunch of their, you know, you find their knockoff clothes and G.I. Joe's lots all the time, or floating around. And a lot of different companies use them for different figures. If you're just joining in, you missed the popcorn bucket. I'll show it again in a little bit. You guys can take a look at that. But anyway, so I thought I'd never find one. Then I kind of found one. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I found parts of one. That was a ATV jungle vehicle, which is a ripoff of the G.I. Joe ATV, kind of the Secret of the Mummy's Tomb vehicle, except theirs is in green and it's got the winch and all that. Then I found one or two more. Then I found like the Sea Sled, which is a ripoff of the G.I. Joe Sea Sled, if you will. Where does this go? Something doesn't look right here. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Don't know what I'm doing wrong here. I'll have to figure this out. Because I forget how this friggin' thing goes. Is it actually supposed to go like that? All right. Guess we're gonna find out. But in any case, so I started to do a little more research and started finding more parts. Once I started finding a bunch of these parts and started realizing what they were and where they went and all this stuff, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Now, what the hell was this supposed to clip? That's interesting. Because there's no, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. Wrong piece. This has to go on first. These are sliders. They have these pegs that go into here. I mean, this is not the most stable piece of plastic. Gets pretty fragile, especially the base. Anything that's made out of orange on this set is pretty much super fragile. It's kind of styrene plastic, like back in the day with the kind of styrene, like the old Aurora models and stuff like that. Let's see what we got here. Put this together. But turns out after all that, I just did a quick count of what I have. I have 9 of these towers. 6 of them are loose. I have this one in this box, which I believe is different. I'm going to go look at the other box. I think it's different. It might be the same. I don't want to break that. I'll have to play with that later. And then I have the one that's got all of the sets inside. So they took all of the accessory vehicles, which includes this mobile base tower, and they put a single box you could purchase. This is going to be a real fucker in it. There we go. I got to get it in there and kind of pop it in there and off it goes. Just got to be careful. I just want to break it in for, like I said, they get very fragile. They are from the 1970s. These are not, I don't even know how many of these survived. I got to be honest with you, they're so cheap. Actually, I do know how they survived. So kids might have played with these for a little while before they realize, hey, it's not the real G.I. Joe thing. And your grandmother got this, and you go to your buddy's house and you got the real training tower, and you're like, this sucks. I'd rather play the real training tower. So this thing makes it to the back of the closet or the toy chest, never to be played with again. It just sits there, sits there, sits there. So your mom either throws it out, or 50 years later, somebody you know goes ahead and finds it and says, hey, I can probably sell this on eBay, which is exactly what happened. All right, let's see if we can get this together. I just want to see how complete this is. It's pretty close. It's not fully complete, but it's pretty darn close. And the one piece, the one major piece that I'm missing, I actually have an extra. So that's going to work out pretty well. This gets lost a lot. This is the actual, for the zip line, for him to hold on to. Now, Mr. Action cannot hold on to this. But this was not just marketed to Mr. Action. They also tried to get kids to do this for G.I. Joe. And obviously, it's not a G.I. Joe. It's pretty flimsy. G.I. Joe, the weight of G.I. Joe, I think, would just tear this apart, to be honest with you. I don't think it would do too well. But that being said, they went on to market anyway. Matter of fact, a lot of the catalogs, these are just sliders. This one's actually in pretty good shape. A lot of the catalogs took pictures of these with a G.I. Joe, a Hasbro G.I. Joe. I'm talking about the 12-inch Hasbro G.I. Joe from the 60s and 70s. The original Fighting Man, if you will, or Adventurer, not the little 3 3/4 figures that came out later. Come on, now let's see if we can get this in there. Come on. Problem with these is, like I said, they get very fragile. You have to be careful because you don't want to break them any more than they already have. and they're not that sturdy. They're pretty cheap. You know, like I said, it's a little weird that I would find like one of these pieces, or one, you know, not even these, like these little skinny plastic pieces. I'm like, what the hell did this go to? You know, some toy, obviously, and they're not really marked. Some of them say like made in Hong Kong. So once I started realizing what they went to, I'm like, holy shit, those are Mr. Action. And there we go. Those are Mr. Action. All right, so I'm missing a bar for here. I'm missing a thing for here. Okay, that's fine. This would go up top. There's a string that goes on top to this. Let's put this together. Okay, so this would go on top. This is it's supposed to be, you know, a rip-off of this G.I. Joe Tower. So this would go on top. There'd be a string. Then you would have this wonderful piece. Take supposedly zip line down. And then, of course, you would have this plastic ladder that just hooks, which is, these are essentially the same ladders that come with the Empire Toys helicopters, except they don't come in brown. They usually come in white. And it is missing the gun rack, but I think I have an extra gun rack. It's missing the steering mechanism. I'm going to put this over here. It's missing the steering mechanism, which just coincidentally, I happened to get an extra one last week. It does have one of the rifles it came with. These are the cheaper knockoff kind of G.I. Joe rifles. Let's go. Yeah, so here it is right here. Here we go. Oops, there we go. We have it. It's missing the driving piece, which is essentially this on here. And we just happen to have an extra one. So here's a more complete tower. It's missing this. As you can see, there's a few here. I have an extra here. Here's the extra one. I thought I had an extra handle on the side. I guess I don't. And I thought there was an extra handle. Maybe there is one somewhere. I might have put somewhere. Here's an extra piece too. These are just styrene plastic. They're not very strong, but it gets this tower more complete. And essentially, you put this down here, and there's your tower. We're done now. There's, like I said, I'm going to turn this around. So there's a gun rack missing that goes into here, which I have. Probably an extra one somewhere. There's a gun rack that goes in there. Here's a piece of string that went on, no big deal. And here's the mobile base training box. Again, it's in pretty rough shape. Actually, it's in very rough shape. Here's his helicopter, gyrocopter, if you will. I don't see. Here's the ATV vehicle. And it's interesting. I keep seeing it in red. I've seen it in magazines, like prototypes in red. I'm yet to come across. But the idea behind this, other than like the G.I. Joe one, was that you could break it down and he could drive it from place to place, right? Something that G.I. Joe could not do, right? Let's go take a look at the back and see what else we have, because we do have another one. I don't know if that's the same box or not. If it's not, I'm going to be really excited because I think that's pretty cool. If it is the same box, that's okay as well. I'll just have two of them. Yeah, so this is a different box. So you can see it's got a more realistic painting job on it. And there's the, let's put the flashlight on here. Do this. Listen, this is not a professional show. Okay, so this box actually comes with all the sets in there. Okay, and just to give you an idea, these are a bunch of the land sea sleds, the ATV vehicles. There's one of the helicopters in the box. Here's what they look like loose. Here's more ATV vehicles stacked up. There's one in this box from Germany. I've said this before. It's my friend Mick Drago. It's from Germany. It's called Superman by Quell. And it's the same thing. And here's the actual figure and so on. But yeah, Mr. Actions, he's a very cool figure. But let's take a quick look. I didn't realize that I didn't realize before that these boxes are completely different. So I'm going to try and do a little repair on the other box. Not now. We'll do it later. It's got some rips and tears, but I should be able to do some repair from the inside. And we could take a look. Let's see if I can do this without breaking the whole damn thing. Okay, so we're going to move this over. It's similar. I'm wondering if there's a year on them where I could see the difference. Or if one was mail order, or one was sold at Sears, and one was sold at JCPenney or whatever like that. So this is the one that I had. It's very cool. You can see it has the land sea sled, has the ATV, and it's got the helicopter. It looks like they're in motion. Much more realistic painting. But these are kind of these cartoony looking things. I'm curious if there's years on them. So this is a little bit of damage. It's a shame. But I'll take it with this damage over not having it, because it is a very difficult to come by piece. Yeah, I don't see a year on them. I have to talk to John Toyzilla Marshall, who is quite an expert on these. Maybe he has an opinion as to, or maybe he knows the years or so on. But you can see a huge difference. I mean, even the direction the car is going, the artwork, this is clearly painted. These actually is 2 Land Sea sleds. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a whole bunch of them out there. There's ATV, where this one just has, I don't think it has a Land Sea sled in it. It's got the ATV, no Land Sea sled, nope. But it's got some dudes hanging out, you know, all kinds of neat stuff. The color's different and so on. And this is interesting, the ladder, which is just a rope ladder here. It looks like a solid one. But this is a much less detailed thing, detailed kind of box. We're going to have to do some repair. Like I said, from the inside, try and fix that up a bit. It's a little ripped. We're going to clear that up and see what we can do to make that better. But pretty cool. Thought that was pretty neat. Hope you guys got a kick out of it. Again, Mr. Action Mobile Base Tower. This would be number 9, after I thought I could never find one. They're not easy to find. They're definitely not impossible, as you can see, but they're not easy. And I've acquired mine probably all in the last 2 or 3 years. So there you go. All right. Everybody have a great evening. Thanks for watching. Peace.